Right. Gotta say, that election, what a ride, huh? We're diving deep today, folks, into the reactions to Trump's victory.
Reactions from around the world.
Yeah, all those comments pouring in, people everywhere chiming in on the big win, so like a global pulse check.
Really fascinating stuff.
It is, like you see everything from these big celebrations to
Yeah.
like heartfelt relief. It's wild.
It really captures how this election wasn't just an American thing. It was global. The whole world was watching.
Totally. And
Mhm.
these comments, they give us a peek into how people are processing it all, outside the U.S.
Absolutely.
Okay, so first off, the celebrations. I mean, tons of them, right? Not just here either. Like, check this out. From India, from the state of Nagaland. India. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Love it.
Right.
And it's not just India. We're seeing it from New Zealand, Philippines, UK, even Mongolia. It's pretty widespread.
Yeah, it's like a certain group of people, they're really vibing with this win no matter where they are.
Yeah, maybe folks who, I don't know, like his style, that strongman persona, or maybe they just want someone to shake things up.
Could be. Oh, and speaking of global reach, look at this. From Denmark. Congratulations, America. Love from Denmark.
Oh, wow.
Right. It's like, it's not just an American story anymore.
Definitely not. It makes you think about like global leadership in this day and age. Can someone like Trump, who, let's be real, is pretty divisive,
Yeah.
can he actually like bring people together across cultures and beliefs?
That's the big question.
Or is it more about like a shared anxiety about the future, people wanting someone who promises big changes?
That's a good point. Maybe it's not always about Trump himself, but what he represents to folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But it's not all just, cheering and stuff. There's a lot of relief in these comments, too.
Oh, for sure.
Like real deep relief. Here's one. I am not American, was there until last year, but couldn't sleep last night. My heart was in my mouth. I prayed so hard, and eventually thankful to God for giving this a chance.
Intense, right?
Yeah, and it shows you how anxious people were. I mean, not just in the U.S., but everywhere. Leading up to this election, it was a lot.
It was. And for some, this win, it's like a return to stability,
Like things making sense again.
Exactly. A sense of order in a world that's feeling pretty chaotic these days.
Totally get that. And this one really hit me. The first time in years, I'm finally feeling hopeful for our country that things will start getting better again. Trump has true dedication to the American people. Very happy.
Wow.
Right.
Like a weight lifted off their shoulder.
Totally. So much hope. It's like they see Trump as this break from the norm, a chance for real change to happen.
Yeah, but it also makes you wonder about like what hope really is. Is it about actual plans and policies, or is it more of a gut feeling?
That's deep.
Like believing that he can actually deliver on everything he's promised.
Interesting. But then, alongside all this broader stuff, you get these comments that zero in on very specific things, like super focused, check this one out, stop the war, Mr. President.
Straight to the point.
Right. Clearly they want peace, less of America getting involved in other countries' conflicts.
It's a big concern for a lot of people, America's role in all these global conflicts.
Yeah, like they're looking to Trump to, I don't know, maybe calm things down a bit. Focus on talking things out instead of, sending in the troops.
Definitely.
And then there's this one totally different vibe. Focus that all homeless will be given funding and shelter. Please organize to clean the street. This one's all about, like, the stuff happening right here at home.
Yeah, this is about those economic worries that a lot of people are feeling.
For sure. Like, that fear that things are slipping away, that the American dream isn't so attainable anymore.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder how Trump's going to address all this, especially with his focus on, like, tax cuts and less regulation.
Right, because those things, they don't always help everyone equally, do they?
No.
It's wild, though, isn't it? All these different concerns, from wars to homelessness, all aimed at the same guy. Like, he's got a lot on his plate.
He does. It shows you the expectations people have for the president, especially when things feel, kind of shaky.
For sure. Okay, but before we get too deep into those expectations, let's switch gears a bit and look at Trump's victory speech itself.
Sounds good.
What were the big things he highlighted? And do they line up with what we're seeing in these comments?
Good question. Let's dive in. So, in that speech, right off the bat, it's unity, healing,
Yeah, I noticed that.
acknowledging that America's hurting, things are broken,
Yeah.
and he's going to fix them from the borders to, well, everything else.
That everything else that's doing a lot of work there, huh? But I guess that's Trump. Big promises, simple solutions, people like that.
It's that optimism, that can-do attitude. It's appealing. And then he doubles down on that whole fighting for the American people thing every single day. Paints a picture of this, like, golden age of America coming back, brighter future for everyone.
Yeah, it definitely echoes what we're seeing in some of those comments, right?
Yeah.
That desire for things to get better, that belief that maybe Trump can make it happen.
It's powerful stuff, especially for folks who are feeling kind of disillusioned, like the system's failed them.
Totally. And then there's that classic Trump move, running through all his victories state by state like he's reliving the campaign.
Keeps that energy going, that sense of triumph.
And it's not just about him, right? He thanks his family, his team, even throws in a shout out to Elon Musk.
Always building those connections, showing loyalty.
Reinforces that image of the strong leader, the guy with the tight-knit crew.
Exactly. But beyond all the, anecdotes and celebrations, you start to see some actual policy stuff emerge.
Yeah, like the bread and butter Republican issues, right? Secure the borders, lower taxes, tackle that national debt. Classic red meat for his base.
And that emphasis on military strength.
Yeah.
Strong and powerful, but hopefully not something we actually have to use,
It's like trying to walk that line, right?
Yeah.
Tough guy, keeps America safe, but also avoids unnecessary wars. Tough sell.
Definitely. And then there's that curveball, bringing in Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to head up health stuff.
Oh, yeah, that was unexpected.
Given Kennedy's, views on vaccines and all that, it's a gamble.
Huge gamble. Could bring in new supporters, but could also alienate some folks.
Yeah.
But I guess that's Trump style, right? Bold moves, shaking things up.
Exactly. But there's this one theme that kept popping up that I thought was interesting, this whole common sense thing.
Oh, yeah. He was hammering on that.
Like, his people, they're the party of common sense.
It's clever, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Makes his opponents look out of touch, like they don't get the everyday struggles of regular Americans.
It's that populism thing, right? Like elites versus the people. The system's rigged.
Exactly. And it works. It gets people fired up, but it also kind of shuts down any real nuance,
Yeah, it oversimplifies things.
It does. Makes it us versus them, good versus bad, good for rallying the troops, but not so good for actual thoughtful discussion.
Yeah, it can be dangerous, that kind of thinking.
Okay.
Okay, so we've looked at Trump's speech, the themes, the tactics. Let's go back to those comments now and see how they line up,
Yeah, let's connect the dots.
What links can we see between those hopes and fears people are expressing and the promises Trump's making?
Well, there's a lot of overlap, actually. We see tons of comments from people craving stability, a return to, simpler times.
Like that one, I'm finally feeling hopeful for our country that things will start getting better again. Or, thank God he won, this country's about to turn around. That longing for a world that makes sense again.
Exactly. And that dovetails perfectly with Trump's whole Make America Great Again shtick. He's the guy who's going to bring back the good old days.
Yeah, and then there's that economic anxiety. It's everywhere in these comments. People worried about money, jobs, just making ends meet.
For sure. Comments like, focus that all homeless will be given funding and shelter, or food prices and interest must be lower to give back to your people temporarily. People are feeling the squeeze.
And Trump's response: tax cuts, debt reduction, prosperity for all. He's tapping into that fear and offering himself as the solution.
Classic move. And tied to that economic stuff, I think, is this craving for safety and security, not just in the U.S., but globally, too.
Yeah, like, stop the war, Mr. President, or the world is suddenly a safer place. Take the lead, USA. People wanting stability on a larger scale.
And Trump's rhetoric plays right into that. Border security, strong military, peacemaker. He's projecting strength, and that's reassuring to people who are feeling, vulnerable.
It's fascinating how these personal anxieties and hopes connect with these big political narratives.
It really shows how language can shape our perceptions, how important it is to, critically analyze what these leaders are saying.
Totally. Okay, so we've covered a lot here. Global reactions, Trump's speech, those connections between the two. But this is just the beginning, right?
Oh, yeah, this is just scratching the surface.
This election, it's stirred up a lot of stuff, and it's going to take a while for it all to settle.
Absolutely. There are some big questions we need to grapple with now about the direction of American politics, the health of our democracy, even the fabric of our society. This is a turning point.
So much to unpack, right? Global reactions, the speech, those connections. But the big question now is, where do we go from here? What does all this mean for, the future?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This election, it's shown us how divided we are, not just in America, but globally too. And the question is, are those divisions going to get worse? Or can we, I don't know, find some way to bridge the gap?
You can't ignore how intense things got, right? Some people are over the moon, like their side finally won, but others are really worried about what this all means. It's a stark reminder that we live in a pretty polarized world.
It's true. It's hard to have a real conversation, find common ground when everyone's so dug in.
And Trump, let's face it, he's a divisive figure. This win, it's going to fire up his supporters, but it's also going to push away those who, strongly disagree with him.
It's a tough spot to be in.
He's got to deliver for the people who voted for him, right?
Oh,
But he also has to govern in a way that doesn't, tear the country
a
apart.
balancing act for sure.
And we can't forget about the global impact, right?
Oh, yeah, this election, it was a worldwide event.
People everywhere were watching, and they had a lot of opinions. So what Trump does on the world stage, it's going to have ripple effects everywhere.
Absolutely. Trade, military stuff, climate change, all eyes are going to be on him. How he handles those things, it's going to shape America's role in the world.
For sure. I think it's important to watch how he deals with the different groups, within his own party and in the whole political scene. Did he get people to work together,
Yeah.
or is it going to be more gridlock and fighting?
Good question. And how's he going to handle the pressure? Because it's going to come from all sides.
Right. Will he tone things down, try to find common ground, or is he going to stick to that in-your-face style?
We'll have to see. And what about the economy?
Right. All those promises,
Yeah.
jobs, prosperity, can he actually make it happen, or is it all going to fizzle out when he bumps up against, the realities of the world?
Another big question mark.
And then there's the social issues.
Yeah. Equality, justice, all that.
Will his policies make those divisions worse? Or will he surprise us and try to create a more inclusive society?
So many possibilities, so many unknowns.
This election was a game changer, and we're going to be feeling the effects for a long time.
No doubt about it. It shows us that democracy, it's not a static thing. It's always changing, shaped by the choices we make.
So we got to stay engaged, right?
Yeah.
Stay informed, participate, hold our leaders accountable.
Absolutely. The future's not set in stone. We're writing it right now. We all have a part to play.
I love that. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, one final thought. What are you going to do personally to make sure that the next chapter of this story, reflects your values, your hopes for a better world?
A powerful question, something to think about.
It is, because the future of our democracy depends on us. We have to be informed, passionate, and engaged. So keep those conversations going, keep asking those tough questions, and keep diving deep. We'll be back soon with another exploration of the ideas and events that are shaping our world. Until then, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep learning.